Hey guys, this is Alessio Summerfield, the host of Metal Gear Mondays, and you are listening to a backlog episode of Metal Gear Monday. So if you guys hear any mention of Geek Time, the Geek Time network is since defunct, and now Metal Gear Mondays is a part of the original lineup of podcast shows from Forever and Astronaut. If you guys want to take advantage of our Patreon to get really cool exclusive content and speak with other fans, as well as talk directly to the hosts and the guests, you can go to patreon.com/foreveranastronaut. $5 a month on Patreon will get you access to all of our original shows, including Dev Diary Season 1 and future shows. So if you want to support the studio and support content like what you're listening to, please be sure to go to patreon.com/foreveranastronaut or foreveranastronaut.com to check out the rest of our lineup of shows, as well as short films, blog posts, and other goodies. If you want to write into the show, the new write-in information is contact@foreveranastronaut.com, or you can utilize the facebook.com/Metal Gear Mondays. Thank you guys so much, and enjoy the episode. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's Metal Gear Monday. I'm Alessio Summerfield.
And I'm Cameron Hill.
And everyone else died since last you heard them. No, Isaac is out of town, and Sam could not join us due to time constraints. So, for this week, Cameron and I are going to be your lovely tour guides, and we are going to be reading some listener responses later in the episode, but first we're going to tackle some corrections and some Easter eggs. Yeah. Oops.
Looking at this list, I'm kind of blown away at how much there is.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, and this is actually I think Sam and I mentioned stuff to each other and then forgot to put them on the list. So I don't even know if it's everything. Yeah. But at least we're correcting ourselves, and we didn't get a whole bunch of hate mail. So, but yeah, I don't know. We're going to try and break it down like this for the rest of the games in the series as well. So, we may not, I know with the longer games, we may not do corrections at the end of the game or listener responses. We'll probably do it kind of at certain checkpoints, like a third of the way through or whatever.
And ideally, we won't have to do corrections.
Yeah, totally. But we are also, I just wanted to let everybody know, kind of changing format a little bit. Instead of trying to speed through the game and cram it into like 3 2-hour episodes, we will be breaking down the future games into the series by kind of doing them a little bit more like 45-minute to an hour long kind of in-depth looks at like smaller chunks of the game. That way we don't fly through some of the more detailed stuff. Like Cameron pointed out to me that we almost completely flew through Psycho Mantis, and that feels like a sin. So
yeah.
But yeah, so Cameron, do you want to get us started with some of the corrections, and you can just throw it at me whenever you want?
Yeah. Well, starting off with the corrections, where we were talking about the body armor, which I did not find. Isaac did. I forgot where you said it was located, but it was actually in one of the gas hallways leading to Otacon's lab. There are a bunch of doors there, and I guess I'd overlooked that because of the levels of the key card. And I didn't want to backtrack due to the amount of backtracking that's already in the game.
Totally. Yeah, I think originally I said it was in one of the comm towers.
Oh, really?
It's actually, I got it confused with the rope, which God save you if you don't pick up the rope and then you get to the top of the tower.
Yeah, well, they did a good with that rope because they placed it right next to some bullets, some ammunition or whatever, and it's right before that like leading up scene or the tower climb. So you know that you're going to die, you know that you're going to run out of bullets, so you definitely run over it and get it, which is a good way to like ensure that people don't make that mistake often.
Word.
But yeah.
I can pick up the next one, and we can just kind of monkey in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Essentially, in the episode we talked about like, woe is me, what do we do now that we're in this digital age and we don't have CD cases to look for Meryl's codec frequency? Well, listening to a few other folks talk about Metal Gear recently, I realized that if you get stuck, you can actually codec call Colonel Campbell 3 times, and he will give you Merrill's codec frequency on the third time. So I did not know about that going into it. So I apologize if anybody freaked out and was like, oh, I don't want to play this game if I have to dig through manuals.
That's pretty cool that they put that in there. It's like a fail-safe.
Yeah. I think the reason for it, I don't know if it's just speculation or what, but I didn't even think about this, but a lot of people were complaining when the game came out that you couldn't rent the game because of the case thing. And like apparently game rental companies get really upset because they were just like, this feels like it was put in the game intentionally to screw with rentals. And then apparently somebody from Konami or some magazine was like, no, actually you can get around it. So
did they even let the game get that far in the demo?
I don't know. The rentals.
Rental.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you're playing the full game.
So like if you're at like Blockbuster and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So.
Huh. Wait, so interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if it was intentionally done for that or if it was just done in case somebody lost their case.
Yeah. I can see. I don't know. You cannot punch the guards to death. You can only knock them out with punches, which I felt was true, but Alessio said that you could knock people out to death. And I wondered, like, man, as a 12-year-old boy, he must have really been punching them, like, again and again and again, because I tried it and it didn't work. And after, like, 5 knockouts, I just said, whatever. And, yeah, interesting.
I was a very, very angry child. I don't know if they died necessarily or if it was just the pixels got smashed to pieces by the number of times that I was punching these people. So here we go again, and I totally had forgotten about this as well. In the boss fight with Psycho Mantis, which again we totally skipped over, I guess, a lot of the detail on that, and I apologize. If you don't change your controller port, or if you can't change it because you have a broken second controller port or whatever, you can actually get around doing that by punching the masks or shooting the masks on the statues. And whenever the faces of the statues kind of get revealed, Psycho Mantis will freak out, and you can actually do damage to him that way. It's kind of strange because I don't even remember if I know what the statues' faces look like in the Twin Snakes remake, but you definitely can't tell what the hell they look like in the PS1 game. So I wonder why that affects him.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like a plot-driven thing, something to do with his psychic abilities or whatever, or if it was just like a failsafe. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like pictures of people that he knew or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Who knows?
Anyway, so my biggest gripe, they kind of, I guess they did a little bit of a fixing in the Twin Snakes remake, where they had a hot and cold pipe in the Metal Gear Rex room where you can change the card key type without leaving the hangar, which, oh man, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I found out about that, and I was like, oh my god, I need to put this in the notes immediately, because I have not played Twin Snakes as much as I played the original game. And I was reading something, and it was just like, you have to do kind of some weird stuff to get to it, but if you like hang from one of the like walkways, and Snake drops down, you can like land on a pipe, and if you shoot it, like the gas will like change the card. I think you still have to drop down and climb back up, but you can do it all without leaving the room, which is amazing.
Yeah, that would make a world of difference.
Totally. In episode 3, which was this last episode, Sam said Naomi Campbell, which I'm pretty sure is either a famous person's name or a combination of famous people's names. But her name is actually Naomi Hunter. And fun fact, Hunter and Frank Jaeger is German for Hunter. They mean the exact same thing, so it kind of alludes a little bit to the fact that they might be related. And that's actually an entire relationship that I feel like we did not dive into that much at all either. And I apologize for that. I
mean, they kind of just hit it right at the end. She's just like, true. Oh, by the way, and then you get a little bit when you're in the hangar fighting Rex.
That's true.
So I guess like during those moments, more intense things were happening. So we were kind of focusing on like the Rex fight as opposed to the conversation with Jaeger. That's true.
With the Jaeger bomb. Yeah. I love that you called him the Jaeger bomb. And I definitely too want to plug really quickly, and I'll put it in the show notes. But if you there, I will say that I think there's like
Hold
one.
on, wait a second. Did you just compliment yourself?
No, you said Jaeger bomb last episode.
Did I?
Yeah, I was telling you that.
Okay.
Jeez.
Sorry, I said Jaeger, and then you said, "Oh, like Jaeger bomb." I love that you said Jaeger bomb. And I just don't remember saying that. Sorry.
Let's retake that real quick.
Yeah, just retake that.
I don't want to sound like a lunatic. Thank you, Cameron. So I'm just gonna do the whole fucking bullet point again.
Okay, cool.
If you are interested in kind of deep diving more into Metal Gear, the more so than we could kind of do in our format, I strongly recommend Super Bunny Hop is the YouTube channel. George, who is the guy who does that, is a super, super awesome, well-spoken guy, and he has an entire series called Critical Close-Up, and I believe that some of the first 2 episodes were Critical Close-Up Metal Gear Solid Part 1 and Part 2. I will say, and I'll say this to you too, Cameron, in case you want to watch them, there is like a slight minor MGS2 spoiler in the videos for MGS1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that big of a spoiler at all, and you may already have gotten to that point, or you may already know about that part. And likewise too, follow-up kind of correction, not really correction of the game, but I was confused as to who the hell Phil LaMarr was in Pulp Fiction for some reason. It's Marvin. So for those of you who haven't seen Pulp Fiction, there is a scene with Phil LaMarr, and he is in the back seat of a car. And John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson are talking, and John Travolta is very casually waving a gun around, and they hit a bump in the road, and John Travolta blows Phil LaMarr's entire fucking face off. And then they have a huge kind of like back and forth argument between Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta of like, what the hell just happened? And John Travolta's like, man, I shot Marvin in the face, man. I fucking shot Marvin in the face. And it's played for laughs, but it's really fucked up.
Mm.
But yeah, and I just forgot what his name was for some reason.
Mm. Who is Phil LaMarr in relation to
he voices the ninja.
By the ninja. Okay, cool. The next correction is the quote, "Jackals hunt foxes." It's not the other way around. Just a slight miswording on that one.
I think Sam, no, it was me. It was me that fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were talking about the Rex fight, and I was just like, I'm going to flip it because I'm stupid.
Yeah, stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
And then also, this is another one that Alessio made a mistake on. Kojima's birthday, Alessio. I'll let you defend yourself.
Well, I think I got I said the year was 64. It was actually 63. What ended up happening is like me, you, and Sam were trying to subtract in our heads what his age would have been when he did MGS1. And I think Sam said he would have been like 33 or 38. And it was actually 35. So, yep.
Cool.
This last note is from Sam under corrections, and again, I'm sure we missed a whole bunch of other stuff, but please, guys, we're doing this out of goodwill, and we love Metal Gear Solid as much as you do, so we didn't mess things up on purpose, guys. But Sam mentions, I know we had a long conversation about Psycho Mantis and the things that he says when you save frequently or not frequently, and I think we said there were 3 things he could have said. Sam has corrected us and said that he discovered that there's 2 things. If you save less than 3 times, he says you were somewhat reckless. If you save more than 3 times, he says you are very prudent. He only says those 2, and he will never call you a paranoid man, which is straight out of my mouth again. So,
as the biggest lover here, you seem to make the most amount of slip-ups, and I think that's because like you just haven't played this one in a while.
Yeah, probably.
And that'll change if we're all kind of chunking Metal Gear Solid 2 on the next
and
run.
Playing together.
Yeah, I think that'll make a big difference in the amount of corrections and things like that.
Totally.
how should I start this?
Oh, that's fine. I was just gonna say we're both sick boys.
Yeah, we are both pretty sick boys. And it's early, and it's just starting to get cold in Missouri, so I just feel like absolute garbage right now. But anyway,
Agreed.
Easter eggs for Metal Gear Solid 1 that we did not touch on. Again, during the Psycho Mantis fight. I feel like a lot of these things are coming during the Psycho Mantis fight. But when Meryl is possessed by him, if you do the first-person view, you'll actually see the game through Meryl's eyes when she's walking towards you with the gun. So that's pretty interesting.
It was super creepy. Like, I'd forgotten about that, and I think I was re-listening to the Watch Out for Fireballs episode on Metal Gear to kind of prep for this. And they mentioned it. Hold on. God damn it. Sorry, guys. Anyway, and they mentioned it, and I had completely forgotten about that, but I definitely remember like pressing triangle in that room at some point, and just being like, wait, what? Like, how am I looking at Snake?
Yeah.
So likewise related to Meryl, we briefly talked about police knots. But Meryl actually appears in Police Knots, which I'd completely forgotten about, and she is actually a Foxhound operative as well, and is like the same age and looks like relatively the same in Police Knots. And likewise as well, two of Meryl's partners from Police Knots actually reappear in Metal Gear Solid 4, like as themselves, which is interesting.
How far in the future is that game?
4 is a sequel to 2. So it's not that far. I think it's...
Police Knots.
Oh, Police Knots is like... Man, let me double check really quickly before we have to correct the corrections. A little covert Googling real quick. Police Knots plot. If I remember correctly, it's pretty far into the future, though. Hold on. Do do do.
Do 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 do.
Oh, here we go. I can actually read Meryl's little bio real quick, too, actually. Meryl Silverberg, one of the squad members under Ed. Meryl is a terrestrial, parentheses, a human born on Earth, who was previously a member of Foxhound and has tried to put her military experience to use in the police. However, the department is far more interested in utilizing the AP, so she ends up feeling useless. The character was later reused for Metal Gear Solid since Kojima liked her so much, but in Police Knots, she's a much more battle-hardened veteran. So let me see what year Police Knots takes place in. The year it takes place in 2013 actually, but then at the very beginning, and then it jumps 25 years into the future, so it's like 2038, which is not as far as I thought it was in the future.
Yeah, interesting.
Muy interesante. Do you want to take the next one?
Once again, Psycho Mantis can read your Psycho Mantis can read your PS3 and your PSP memory stick data and talk about like game saves that you've had, as well as having special messages for Nintendo games and the Twin Snakes. I didn't encounter any of this because it's games that are only specific to Konami, as far as I'm concerned. And I didn't have any other games on there that he could comment on.
I just got Suikoden 1 and 2 on my Vita, so I really want to like play MGS on there and just see if he says anything about those two games. I think he does. Yeah,
you just need to play 2 regardless.
I know, right?
I've yet to play Suikoden 1, but Suikoden 2 holds a very, very special place in my heart.
Yeah, I'll definitely bust it out probably pretty soon, as soon as I finish Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
This next one's from Sam, who could not be here, and Sam says, when Psycho Mantis blacks out the screen, it gave me a heart attack because I thought the game had shut down. Turns out, it just says Hideo in the corner and was a game trick. Made the battle super scary for me in multiple ways. I cannot believe we got through the Psycho Mantis fight without mentioning that, and I apologize. It's funny because depending on, like, I think my TV that I've got like an old CRT TV in my office, but then we've got a more modern TV downstairs. But on my CRT TV in my office, whenever I get to this point, it literally looks like a green version of what my TV font looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely spooks me even still a little bit today.
Yeah, that was nice. That was well played, Hideo. Cool. Shadow Moses, the map. Sorry, I got my cord stuck under my wheel, and if you, I don't know if you've ever
I thought you were talking about your vocal cords. I was like, oh my god.
Have you ever just like gotten your cord like stuck under a wheel of your desk chair and it just like eats it no matter what you do, no matter which way you go?
I got no wheels on my chair.
Oh yeah.
I'm an old school boy.
CRT TV. Oh, chairs that don't roll.
It's 1974 at the Summerfield house.
But anyway, Shadow Moses, the island, and Metal Gear Rex actually appear in Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Nintendo Wii, while Snake appears in his MGS2 apparel, and Metal Gear Ray makes an appearance from MGS2 as well. I think this is pretty cool because I definitely played Brawl way before I played these games. And I had no idea, I don't know, like what the map was, because I know that like one of the Metal Gears would kind of smash down and would be looking at you with the spotlight and would like launch stuff at you. And I think it's cool like how many Easter eggs they incorporated as far as like having Metal Gear, having that spotlight detection, from like the very first map or second map. And yeah, so super sweet.
No, totally. The one thing that I don't understand about any of that is that the only reason why Snake is in Smash is because it was on the NES and it's like a shitty version of Metal Gear. And then it's really weird that they didn't use a single asset from the original Metal Gear, which is the Nintendo game.
Yeah.
So,
that's pretty
but
interesting
I guess,
how they got away with that. I don't know, like, was it I
guess
know?
Twin Snakes must have been sort of I think it was just Konami produced it, but I don't think Sony. I don't know. I feel like maybe they made the remake for Twin Snakes when Sony's like contract ran out, but I don't know. There's I will say there's like a reference to MGS1 in Metal Gear Solid 4, and a lot of people have mentioned that because it uses some of the assets from MGS1, that's why Metal Gear Solid 4 has never been for another system. So I don't know how the hell all that works, honestly.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But no, I literally had to keep myself from laughing my ass off because whenever you were like Shadow Moses, the island, I wanted to respond with also the person, and just like I just imagined like a demon version of Moses from the Bible. I am Shadow Moses.
Well, like in Brawl, whenever you're like Metal Mario versus Mario, just be like Shadow Moses versus Moses.
Mirror match. Oh, yeah, I was dying. I'm sorry. Oh, man. All right, so shadow biblical figures aside. This is weird, and I totally forgot about this. Again, kind of like Solid Snake being half Japanese. And goddamn those half Japanese snakes. They do it to me every time. Solid Snake is actually naturally a blonde. But he dyed his hair to not be confused for Liquid Snake. And what's weird about that is going back and watching the briefing tapes, he's actually blonde in the briefing tapes and has like long ass hair.
What?
And then I guess they make him cut it. Which seems weird because if you're trying to sneak in, wouldn't you want to look like the guy?
Yeah, and also like if you don't know Liquid Snake, how do you know?
I guess they told him.
Yeah, there's
like,
a lot
Intel
of
team.
confusing things about that because I feel like I don't know if like all right, so Colonel Campbell says, "Hey Snake, I'm going to need you to cut your hair and dye it so you don't look like this guy who looks exactly like you." I would be like, "Hold on, I'm going to need you to give me a little bit more information on this. Why does he look exactly like me, like to a T?"
Yeah, that's like, hey Cameron, I'm gonna need you to go pick something up from the supermarket, but you might want to change your entire appearance because Hammer and Kill might run into you, and you're just like, oh, okay,
yeah,
like at face value.
Sounds legit. Shave my head in one swift motion. Yeah. Also, a lot of voice actors in Metal Gear Solid 1 were working in opposition to some SAG requirements, so they had to credit their roles to pseudonyms.
Yeah, and I think it might be SAG, but it's yeah, whatever the voice actor version of that. But I think Phil Lamar is not listed as Phil Lamar. Like, whenever it shows the characters and then it puts parentheses under their names and
Yeah.
shows yeah, a lot of the names are actually kind of like not the real names of the actors because they didn't have permission by like the Screen Actors Guild to do the game.
Wow.
So, yeah, because I think the way that SAG works and some of the other unions is like you can only do a certain number of like non-union jobs a year.
Yeah.
And I think some of those people had like capped out, but they were like, I really want to do this. So I don't know. Going back to some of our frustration with the comm towers, apparently if you have the FAMAS equipped, you can hold X and circle, and you can run and shoot at the same time. So I don't know if that would have made it better.
It does not make the tower better because you can't so if you're running and you're shooting, you don't have any way to like aim, so you're just shooting straight ahead in front of you, and when you're climbing, you're just sitting there shooting the steps.
Gotcha.
I tried that and it didn't do me much good.
Gotcha. So for reader responses this time, we are going to read through a couple of them and also read a nice iTunes review. And after we are all done with that, Cameron and I are actually going to play Metal Santa Solid, and we're going to be giving some gifts to one of the lucky listeners. So I'm going to go ahead and take the first one just because I talked to this person and transcribed kind of what he had written. And then he also gave us a nice little iTunes review. So I'm going to read those, and then we'll just kind of flip-flop it from there.
All right, cool.
The first reader response is from a very attractive bass player friend named Roger. And I'm going to try to not read last names on here just so that people don't get weirded out. You know what I mean? Like if we had like a Facebook page for Metal Gear Mondays and people were posting in that, I would read the full name, but
yeah,
I don't want to like blast out somebody's full name. So yeah, I'm just going to say Roger. Roger apparently has listened to the whole season so far, which thank you so much, Roger.
Thank you, Roger.
And he jumped in to say that he was also a top vent guy, much like myself. So Roger and I are top boys. And he's really enjoying this show. He said he can't wait for us to cover MGS 2, 3, 4, and 5. And to that, I will say we're going to cover more than those games. So you'll enjoy it. And he also left us we have 2 5-star iTunes reviews. One of them did not have a written portion, and one of them did. And he left us our written review. The subject line is entertaining commentary on the MGS series. And he said, I love the first episode. I've never known someone else that has as much enthusiasm for this video game series as I do, so it's incredibly entertaining to listen to y'all wax nostalgia and walk through the first game asking all the questions that I immediately had responses to. Cannot wait for the next one. So seriously, thank you so much, Roger, because every one of those reviews helps us get more exposure, and we're all extremely happy with how the show has been received so far, because it's actually kind of surprised us a little bit.
Cool. The next review comes from Arthur S., and Arthur said, as much as I love Metal Gear Solid 1, I honestly don't think I could play it again. Sadly, it's that the gameplay is just too interrupted and slow from what I remember. My memories are just so positive of it that I'd hate to try it again and discover my changes in taste, making me dislike it. The biggest game design sin, in my opinion, was the torture scene. I remember going back to it, marathoning through to that scene, only to lose all of my progress because, of course, it's clever and removes the ability to continue from this one single scene. It's such a Kojima thing, but it's also annoying. Yeah, so this Arthur boy is speaking my heart. He knows all the right words to say to get me to agree with him.
To get you to go on a date with him.
Biggest game design sin. Yeah, the torture scene was pretty up there. I think I kind of expanded that. Like, there's, I don't know, it's just kind of a silly thing to have a button mashing event in a stealth game, I guess. But it doesn't set you too terribly far back. It just sets you back right after the sniper wolf fight. So you do have to go through like a ridiculous amount of dialogue to get right back into the torture scene to try it. And that was like a really disgusting thing for me.
Does it do that even if you didn't save?
Yeah, if you don't save, that's where it sets you at.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it'll plug you back there. You have to walk forward, and then you get caught, and then you go through all the like waking up, and it's weird. It won't let you skip through the majority of the dialogue because, and maybe this was like an intentional or unintentional thing, but Snake is kind of waking up as it's going on, and you're listening to people talk. And once Snake actually wakes up is when you can start skipping ahead.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. I feel like they kind of do that in MGS2 with a certain couple of parts as well, like keep you from pressing start to get through it.
Yeah.
That's weird. All right, so the next one is from
Thank you,
Tony's.
Arthur.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Arthur. That was very nice. And this is actually Arthur, who I threw a shout out to previously in the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he and I, man, I guess I'm starting to get old. He and I have known each other, I think, like 4 years longer than you and I have known each other, Cameron.
I don't know how long we've known each other.
Like over 14 years, I think now.
Yeah.
13 years. So me and Arthur have known each other for 17 years. Good God. I'm done. I'm just going to walk away and cry. But no, so Arthur and I, we played the game together a little bit. And I definitely reached out to him just to see what he had thought about the game, and he had definitely said that he was going to send me a response anyway, and so he and I kind of chit-chatted a little bit, and yeah, he just told me that he can't play the older games anymore because he just likes how the newer games play. So yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of track you and Isaac's kind of progression through that. But yeah, so the next comment, thank you so much again, Arthur. The next comment is from Tony C., who likes to keep it clean, gonna shine like a sunbeam, keep on rapping, because that's my dream. Got an A from OD for sticking to themes. Little Beastie Boys reference there for you guys. But yeah, so Tony C says, I'll give y'all $3 each, which keep in mind, guys, that's 12 whole dollars. I'll give y'all $3 each if you find a way to convincingly tie Metal Gear to Guilty Gear to Gears of War. So let me get to Googling really quick. How are we going to do this? Oh, man. First things first, I know that...
Is it too cheap to just say they all have gear in the title? Give me my $12, Tony.
Yeah, dude. Come on, man. I will say they definitely all have gear in the title. 2 of them are Japanese, but that doesn't tie 3 of them together.
Well, does he mean like make a reference to Guilty Gear, from Guilty Gear make a reference to Gears of War?
That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, that's what's fucking me, because I can go to Guilty Gear, but I've never played Gears of War, so
I think I can do this.
You got me.
So Guilty Gear is a fighting game. Metal Gear has a fighting scene on Metal Gear X. So the 2 have gears and the 2 have fist-to-fist fighting with some sick, shreddy music in different parts of the games. And there are some beefy, armored, like big boys in Guilty Gear and in Gears of War.
Sure.
I know it's really shitty, but that's how I'm tying them together.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Where's our money, Tony?
Yeah, you can PayPal me at cameron.troy.hill@gmail.com.
Yeah, you can PayPal me at acsummerfield@gmail.com. I'll keep checking it. Cameron, did you hear that the one time that I PayPal'd Sam a nickel for a joke?
No.
I told Sam that I bet him a nickel on one of the Geek Time podcasts, and I lost the bet, and he didn't think I was going to do anything about it, and I PayPal'd him literally 5 cents.
Did PayPal like tax you for that? Was there?
I don't think so. Like, it literally went through. So
That's beautiful.
yes.
I'm gonna start.
All
I'm
right.
gonna start sending out money to all my friends and family, and just give them like really just here's 11 cents, and just like, hey man, haven't heard from you in a while. Just want to make sure you're doing good, and use it wisely.
Just thought I'd give you enough for a 6th cup of coffee.
But all right, Tony C, thank you very much for your response, and thank you for your money. Jordan C, Jordan, I feel like we should figure out where these people are from, so that we can be like, this person from this.
Oh, we should just get their addresses and their socials and read the whole thing on here.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Anyway, Jordan C, he said, had a question about the average length of game of. Let me start that over. Jordan C. Jordan says, had a question about the average length of each game playtime wise. He wonders because he is really enjoying the show and it has inspired him to check out the game, saying that the games seem to have this odd charm about them that holds up, even if the mechanics don't always sound like they do. I know for myself, it was about 8 hours. I think Isaac said he put about 10, and he was really close to the end. And
what are you talking about, man? He beat it.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did. Sorry. I don't know how long it took you and Sam, but I do know that if Jordan's listening to this and he kind of is keyed into some of the like the controller port thing and stuff like that, it shouldn't take him too terribly long. So 8 to 12 hours.
Yeah, and likewise too. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there, Jordan. I'm sorry that we spoiled the entire game for you. Like, you should definitely play it, and then re-listen to what we said. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. There's a nice website called howlongtobeat.com that I just wanted to pull up just to kind of get an idea.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, pretty much what Cameron said reigns true. It says that to beat the main story, it's about 11 hours average, a little over, a little under, depending on who the person is. And then to complete the game fully and get like all of the Easter eggs and all of the extra stuff, they're putting it at 15 and a half hours. And that's based off of over 400 people putting in their final times.
That's a neat website.
So, yeah, it's really cool. I like to check it out before I start playing games, depending on what game I'm playing, just to see if I even have the time, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. I would check out that website, howlongtobeat.com. I'll put it in the show notes, Jordan. It should give you a good idea about how long each game is. I will say, other than Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 5, I think every game in the series is roughly the same kind of length. Usually, like maybe a little bit longer with 3. I think 3 might be a little longer, but it's roundabout like between 10 and 20 hours. I know that's a huge window, but yeah, I like to think of it as just like a full day of game.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
But yeah, really quickly, before we move forward, I wanted to leave a little bit of space here for us to tell you guys what you win. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of the readers and give them a chance to win something. I hope you guys all play PC games or own a Mac, because we are giving away Steam codes for Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil Revelations, and Lost Planet 3. And whoever you are, if you win, get with me either over Steam. I'm AC Summerfield, or I think it's Alighero. Allighero might be like the core account name, with AC Summerfield just being like my nickname. But hit me up on Steam or Facebook, or shoot us a contact thing, and I will gift you those 3 codes, and you can either keep all 3 or get rid of some of them or whatever. But we wanted to throw a nice little joke for Resident Evil 5 in there, since we talked about it in the blast furnace. Cameron, who do you think should win?
Well, this is a tough decision. Roger, the top vent guy, I'm always looking for my next top venter. And anything I can do to get Roger in my life, if these Steam games get him there, then maybe. Arthur, he is my spirit animal in his pessimism. Tony, I don't think Tony deserves these games, because clearly he has extra money laying around.
I would agree with that.
Probably not. Probably not after he sends it to us. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we're
then,
cleaning up.
truthfully, I feel like Jordan should be getting it because I think it's an amazing thing for someone to listen to a podcast about a game that they've never played before. Especially if it's kind of geared towards people that have played it. So yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, I think Jordan's got too many games to play right now, though.
Oh, really?
If he went out and bought them. You should be playing those games, Jordan, so we're not going to give you any more games. No, I think, man. I think I am going to pick also Jordan, because I think Jordan's putting in a lot of time, and I want to reward that time.
Well, wait, now that you say that he has too many games, I don't feel like we're giving him the right game. Because the game
That's
that he
true.
needs to be playing is Metal Gear Solid. And if we
That's
give him
true.
these other games, he's just not going to touch it.
All right. Well, how about this then? Jordan, if you still haven't bought the game, let us know, and I can gift you MGS1 on the PlayStation Network. And we will give these 3 games to the runner-up, who I feel is... I'm gonna give my vote to Arthur. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Arthur, I will get with you outside of this. If you hear this episode before I manage to reach out to you, please reach out to me. And if you don't have Steam, we will find an equivalent thing to hook you up with, and I will potentially be reaching out to the other respondees if Arthur does not have a Steam account or already owns the games. So yeah, cool. Those are our responses. Really quickly, since Isaac and Sam could not be here, we are going to briefly talk about Metal Gear Solid 2, kind of predictions / general kind of stuff. I know that Sam recorded something and put it in our Dropbox this morning since he couldn't be here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave room for that to be inserted right here.
Hey guys, Sam here. I'm kind of bummed that I couldn't be on the show this week, but, I can't just not be a presence. So, I'm going to talk to you guys about Metal Gear Solid 2, give you my general thoughts on the whole thing of it. Growing up as a fan of Metal Gear Solid, one of my earliest memories of video gaming was playing the first one. Metal Gear Solid 2 was it's a very exciting game for me. And when I played it and looking back on it at the time, it was kind of like the sum total of everything I knew about Metal Gear at that point and like my video gaming experience between the two. And it was like it was all leading to that moment. It was everything about my gaming history was setting me up for Metal Gear Solid 2. And it's a very good game that did a lot of stuff in it that sort of made it better. First thing off the top of my head is the fact that you can aim and shoot in first person now with regular guns instead of just the missiles. Like in the first one, which is great. It helps with tactics and stuff like that. It just makes the game more fun. You could sort of tiptoe over noisy stuff, so you don't make noises. Unlike in the first one, the guards are just a lot smarter, and they require a lot more outthinking to be able to pass. The bosses are fantastic. The characters in this game are great, I think. So Cameron and Isaac are in for a great game, and if you, the listener, have not played this at all, you're in for a great game too. It's just a couple of words of advice. It's a very deep game. Listen, pay attention to everything, because you might miss something very important. You want to listen and pay attention, take everything in, because it is a big game. It's a big story. It's a big evolution on what they were doing with the first one. And, a lot of stuff isn't what it appears to be. So you need to pay very close attention. And if you do, it's going to be just a damn roller coaster for you. and I mean that in a very good way. If I can offer one piece of advice, I'd tell you, try not to get peed on. And Alessio will know what I'm talking about. Happy gaming, happy sneaking, and remember, it's just a box. This isn't the end. This isn't the end of the episode. I just wanted to say it. Bye, guys.
Just a box.
Okay, so that was Sam's thought, and Isaac did not get me his written sort of response in time, so we can talk to Isaac about that on the first episode of Metal Gear Solid 2. Cameron, did you have any comments or general kind of blanket statements that you wanted to let the readers know about Metal Gear Solid 2?
About Metal Gear Solid 2. After I played 1, I didn't think I would jump so quickly into it, but I mean, it was maybe like 4 to 6 hours whenever I downloaded it again. And I started playing it the next day. I was initially really blown away with everything. Lots of awesome improvements on a lot of the. I won't say a lot of the issues that I had with the game. They made a lot of improvements on just gameplay, which wasn't anything that I really had a gripe to begin with, but it definitely is a lot smoother. Plays a little nicer. As far as plot, I think they did something that I wasn't expecting with this. And from what I hear, pissed off a lot of fanboys back in the day whenever it was released. I know Alessio gave me a sweet little tidbit, and this might go in the correction notes for these correction notes, but Metal Gear Solid 2 was one of the highest return games after it came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that and I don't know, I guess I never really thought about it, but finishing Metal Gear Solid 1, I don't really think I had anything in my mind at the time that was oh, they're going to do a sequel and this is what it would be like. I never thought, what would I do if I was doing the sequel to this game?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, but we'll definitely go into the whole, bait and switch that happened with MGS2, with the whole demo debacle. And we'll probably end up talking a little bit about Zone of the Enders, because that has a lot to do with kind of the craziness that happened. But yeah, yeah, all I would say for Metal Gear Solid 2 is go into it open-minded, guys. Our first episode is going to, kind of like this episode did, cover pretty much what the demo covers. So we are going to talk about some generalities about the game. We're going to talk about the tanker portion of the game, and then we will stop there for the first episode of Metal Gear Solid 2. And we're going to be kind of chunking it in that kind of sense. So from that moving forward, it'll be kind of that amount of time covered in each episode. And then we're going to have I'm going to go ahead and say maybe the longest episode we ever do. I think we're going to have a very, very long wrap up, kind of thoughts and speculation and kind of what we all kind of took from the game story, because there's just a lot. I'm not even kidding when I say I've definitely heard of people who've written their doctorate thesis papers on this game. So if somebody can write over 100 pages about Metal Gear Solid 2, anything that we say is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's going to be a little crazy, and I'm interested to see what everybody thinks. Cameron, you told me that you started playing it on the Vita. Are you going to continue to play it on the Vita, or are you going to play it on a different?
No. So I've been playing this game on the Vita. I've gotten more than halfway through, but since what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing it in chunks, I am so very happy to just download it on my PS3 and play it from there, because, and I'll go into it later, this game was just not meant for the Vita, and it's
Did you die?
Lengthy pauses because I just don't know what to say.
It's is it control wise, or?
Yeah, it's just the controls. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I'll just get into it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right on.
Sorry.
And I'm gonna. Oh no, you're fine. And I feel like we're at a good length with the episode right now, anyway. So to dive into MGS2 territory might take us long. Yeah, and really quickly, I just wanted to announce to everybody that before we get into MGS2, we are going to be doing 2 micro episodes, and it will either be all 4 of us, or it might just be 3 of us, 2 of us, maybe just me. Who knows? We'll figure it out. We're doing 2 micro episodes that should be about 20 to 30 minutes long of the 2 games that came out between MGS1 and MGS2. So we will be covering the VR missions, and then we will be covering Ghost Babel for the Game Boy Color. VR missions is kind of supplemental to this. However, I wanted to talk about it because there are some kind of neat little Easter eggs that kind of pop up throughout the series from that. Not only that, but our theme song is from VR missions. And then the Ghost Babel for the Game Boy Color is not canon whatsoever, but I did want to do an episode on it because it is probably one of my favorite Game Boy Color games, and it plays really, really well. But yeah, so just next week will be our VR missions episode, and it may be a mixture of who we may have on there. Just quick sort of admin stuff. Please definitely rate and review us on iTunes because it helps get the show a little bit more exposure and helps make it like worth it for all of us to kind of work on this. Check us out on Geek Time's official website, which is our podcast network, which is geekti.me, or you can check us out on Facebook. It is geek_time. And you can also check out the Geek Time podcast on Facebook and on Twitter, which is at Geek Time Pod. On Twitter, I'm at AC Summerfield. Feel free to tweet me any questions or comments on the show. Sam is Samwright DPS. And Cameron, do you have any admin notes?
I feel like this is the part where we do something awesome, like, and watch out for solid Metal Gear objects. But yeah, I don't know. Right. Admin notes, like, what exactly do you mean?
Do you have anything that like you want people to check out, or any like sort of like check out what I'm doing at this website?
Where I plug my Twitter.
Or you can plug anything.
Yo,
is this where I plug my Twitter?
Check me out on Instagram. Nah, I've got nothing.
Who was that guy that you're talking about who did the funny video that Isaac shared? I know you were talking about his stuff.
Oh yeah, Donkey. If you guys do terrible things like play League of Legends, then you guys should check out Donkey on YouTube. He did a little Metal Gear Solid video. He does a lot of cool, funny, entertaining videos and stuff like that. Yeah, that's really my... I do have another note. Alessio, you just mentioned that Ghost Babel is probably one of your favorite like Game Boy Advance games.
It was for color, yeah. Game Boy Color.
One of the things that I think is really garbage is on the Nintendo 3DS, I wanted to like replay Advance War. I don't know if you ever played that game, but it's pretty sweet. Tactics games are like the games that I enjoy playing. It's never on there. The Nintendo 3DS store like lacks a lot of stuff, and I think it's just really disgusting that like I downloaded it on my phone. I can get like any game that I want on my phone now. So.
Well, and apparently Nintendo just announced that they are no longer going to be updating Game Boy games on the 3DS store. Or I think they're done with GBA games on the Wii U as well, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me that I can't get GBA games on my 3DS.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But whatever. Yeah, so I don't know. I may go see if I can hunt down a copy of Ghost Babel and get a Game Boy Color from like A to Z and just fuck with it before we get to that.
Yeah. Honestly, just probably get it on your phone. That's my admin note. Fuck Nintendo. I used to love them. Now I hate them.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. I don't like them very much either anymore. Shit, man. There was something I was going to say and I cannot remember what it was. I think that's it. I guess we should just say that's it, kids. All right, fuck it.
That's it.
So yeah, just like every Monday, come back here for some Metal Gear goodness and tell your buddies about us if you don't want to type out a review on iTunes because you don't have fingers. So yeah, that's what we got. And Cameron, what do they need to remember? It's just a box, silly goose.
That's what it was. That's the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, I never had the opportunity to say it during the podcast, so I guess it just didn't skip. Do that again. Just give me that. One more time.
Yeah. Cameron, what should they remember to do? Oh fuck, I fucked it up. Cameron, what should they remember?
Just remember, it's just a box.
It's for your health.
Just a box.
Yes, sir. The entire cast is offline. Those two weren't on the last episode. The listener? Yes, sir. The Steam codes should become active soon. Right on schedule. Yes, sir. I recovered all of the Geek Times dummy website data. No, sir. My cover is intact. Nobody knows who I really am. Yes. The Asian man knew my identity, but he's been disposed of. Yes. The pessimistic one was the winner after all. That's right. Until the very end, Sam thought he was the optimistic one. Yes, sir. I agree completely. It takes a well-balanced individual, such as yourself, to rule the world. No, sir. No one knows that you were the fifth one. Koji does. What should I do about the Kingdom Hearts fan? Yes, sir. I'll keep him under surveillance. Yes. Thank you. Goodbye, Mr. Director and co-writer Hideo Kojima.